Today, we are going to be talking about the MLB possibly realigning in the future. Now, this is not going to happen until the MLB expands to 32 teams. But Rob Manfred, a couple weeks ago on the Mets Mariners Little League Classic game, he hinted at this, saying it would make sense for the players geographically. It would make sense from a media market standpoint, having, like ESPN broadcasting games from the East at an East time, and then broadcasting games from the West at like the 10 o'clock slot. So it just makes better for media and obviously for the players, way less travel. There's been a bunch of proposed divisions of what it could look like, but we're going to be talking about the Jim Bowden one, which is the East Division, otherwise maybe known as the Northeast Division. But this division that we have here is must-see TV. I think it could be the best division in not just Major League Baseball, not just from a competitive standpoint, but from like a passion standpoint. I think it could be not only the best in Major League Baseball, but the best in all of sports. Yes, I said that, the best division in all of sports. So we're going to be talking about that. Obviously, this is probably a little bit ways away, but we're going to get into it.
Yeah, it would involve the New York Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, and the Phillies. Potentially four of the loudest fan bases in baseball. And, I mean, to your point about being competitive, these are just four huge markets. They are always going to be good to a certain degree. It would be such a competitive division. We would see new rivalries. Yankees Phillies then now becomes like kind of a big thing. It would be all around, I think, just so good for the sport. One thing that we see happen a lot, especially when we get to August regular season, it's just a lot of uncompetitive games. I mean, you have your teams that are selling at the deadline and are now basically AAA teams. It just creates for such an uncompetitive, I feel like, environment. But if we could have, Yankees Phillies and the Yankees Mets the following week, then we got Boston mixed in. Those are must watch games. That's TV right there. I think it would be really, really good for the sport.
Yeah, I think it would be too. I mean, there's obviously some cons or negatives that comes with it. I mean, we're talking about how great this division is, but with that, there's going to be other divisions that are not that great, that you look on paper and they don't have big fan bases and they're smaller market teams. I don't know how much coverage those teams are going to get. I mean, obviously locally, but on a national scale, I'm not so sure. I kind of compare it maybe to like the AFC South in the National Football League. Who really knows? But this division right here, you got Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies, Mets. I mean, those teams are going to hate each other for the rest of the time while they're in the same division. All of them have big payrolls. I know the Red Sox haven't spent as much in recent years, but all of these teams are going to be fighting day in and day out to try to one up each other. And specifically, Yankees Mets in the same city. I mean, that takes the Subway Series up like 5 notches. Imagine down the stretch, the Yankees and the Mets are competing to win the division. And on a Friday night series, you got the Yankees coming to Citi Field or the Mets coming to the Bronx. That's New York. Those are two New York teams taking on each other for a division battle. I think Yankees Mets, that rivalry could maybe even surpass Yankees Red Sox in the future as the rivalry goes on for many years, because you have two of those teams in the same city. And it would be unique because you don't really see that in the NFL. The Giants and the Jets are in the AFC. And, with basketball having, the 15 teams or so in the West and in the East, there's not really divisions. So like Knicks, Nets is big, but it's not as big because they're not like competing in the same division. Having these two teams, that would be really, really crazy. I think owners would try really hard to put the best team on the field, and it would be pretty much a gauntlet to win the division. I think that, if you have Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies, Mets, I think that at least, three of those teams are going to be in the hunt down the stretch for the rest of the year. So I think it makes really, really exciting TV. I do think there is some negatives that comes with it for sure, but it definitely gets me really really excited. And obviously, you're keeping two really big rivalries in the sport in the same division: Yankees, Red Sox, and Phillies, Mets. So you don't miss out on those, and that's kind of what baseball's doing. On the biggest stage, you're not going to miss out on the core rivalries like Giants, Dodgers, or Cardinals, Cubs. But Yankees, Orioles, how much do you really buy into that unless you're an Oriole fan? Then the Yankees are your biggest rival. But I feel like as a Yankee fan, you look at the Blue Jays, Orioles, and Rays, and of course there are rivals, and you don't want to lose to specifically, I think, Baltimore or Toronto. They're not, they're not even the same category as other teams, like the Boston Red Sox. So I think it'd be really cool, and it's going to be interesting to see where the MLB takes it. Another negative is that you couldn't see the Yankees and the Mets in the World Series. I've heard that, and yeah, I mean, obviously in the World Series, that's epic. It's the final showdown. But I mean, the Mets came around in what, 1960, and the Yankees and Mets played in the World Series one time. I mean, the sport could go on another 100 years and that happens. Doesn't happen. So who knows? But I think it would be really, really cool. And I think from a media perspective, it would be incredible to cover those teams competing.